Out there, my name is Sean Joy, aka Dragnix, and welcome back to The Hunt. If you don't know what The Hunt is, it's basically 1-minute segments going over the games that I played during the week and picked up, a little bit of a taste of each of the games that I was able to play, whether or not it's good, what they have to offer. So without further ado, let's go and hunt. Block Legend DX. Full disclosure, 1, I obtained a key from the developer on this game, and 2, I'm a sucker for puzzle RPG games. And this game is no exception. It's a mobile port that adds options, including multiplayer that can get tricky to get it running, but has actual resolutions and reasonable controls. The simple nature of the puzzling is made fun by the layers of strategy that are created here despite its simple surface, which is thankful to the good design decisions made regarding the gameplay. Do I gather experience while in the world, knowing full well that those blocks turn into attack blocks I may need to take out the next boss? Do I focus on going for magic and health and throw the idea of crit boost out the window for stats? Doing different quests unlock star blocks that can unlock new characters such as a salaryman and a freaking spaceship, but I'll always go back to my Unity-chan. Oh, my waifu. There's good humor here as well. All in all, it's not on the level of Puzzle Quest, for example, but for $5, it's a good casual and background experience for those looking to relax and take a step back. Oscura Lost Light. Another key I obtained from the developer here, so keep that in mind. A different version of Limbo. This has more platforming and less puzzle solving, and uses color and art very well to bring its world to life. Oscura, a lighthouse apprentice, sorta screws up the world by touching an ancient artifact, and now must go on a journey to restore the world with the newly gained powers he has. Now there is some variety here, as you will have some mix-up of powers over gravity and the world, and mastering them can really lead to some fun times, especially when you're able to fling yourself all around with the gravity power. The visual style is what stands out here, as the minimal use of color and design really makes the game look lovely, even if it's not the sharpest of visuals at times. Now there are hiccups. Collision detection is deceptive and can lead to frustrating deaths, and this has some of the weirdest designs in terms of checkpoints within levels, making you wonder what they were thinking. But in the end, it's a solid platformer that focuses on gameplay and does a reasonable job with it, and those who are looking for a platformer fix can look here. Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, the Bright Lord DLC. There's more of the same for Shadow of Mordor. Not to say that the DLC is bad, it does do a good job of showing the events with Celebrimbor, I hope I said that right, and the One Ring, and does add some new options in terms of the use of the One Ring mechanic, allowing for unlimited executions and fire arrows for a period of time. Branding has a huge emphasis in this segment, as many of the missions are focused around it, and you'll find yourself branding left and right. But in the end, it's more of the same for the game. More orcs to take down, more missions to complete, so if you wanted more Shadow of Mordor content, this is exactly what you're looking for. If you really wanted to know what happened before the events of the game, this is what you're looking for. Other than that, there's not enough here to justify going out of the way to make a purchase, considering it's just, again, more of the same, even with the One Ring. The One Ring is cool though. Resident Evil Revelations 2, Episode 1 for the PC. Now this is probably the most controversial title I will talk about this week. I found Resident Evil Revelations 2 to be exactly what I didn't want out of the franchise. And not only did the PC port experience frame rate issues, a cut-out local co-op campaign that someone added via a mod, and questionable mouse controls, but left me with an experience that I didn't enjoy on almost every level. Storytelling-wise, the episodic nature shows a huge hole in terms of the main components of storytelling and structure, and the game's co-op nature made it so that the game lost tension in several aspects. And the one mode that may seem fun to play crashed on me repeatedly, that being the raid mode. And while I was finally able to get it to work at one point, it wouldn't let me progress due to the not being able to upload scores and results. But again, the major problems I had with this game were pacing and the lack of horror. The original Revelations was tense and felt tense throughout. Here it was chaotic, and despite one section in Barry's portion, the co-op focused play, ammo, and lack of horror elements felt like a major step back for the franchise. Now hopefully the follow-up episodes can do better, but I have my major doubts considering this initial release. It also doesn't help that they released a patch that broke the game for several players at the end of the week. It's in the major avoid category in my opinion, but do get the opinions of others here. I may be a little bit biased. Sometimes success requires sacrifice. A little collection of mini-games, sort of, that take a weird mechanic and somewhat makes it work. The idea of the main modes of the game, which I will be focusing on, is that you light up the world by committing suicide. That came out wrong. Getting to the exit in the classic mode, or collecting medals in the endless mode is the modes that I'm referring to. It's less than $3, and while there's not a lot of content here, I did have a bit of fun with it. Trying to get as far as you can without having to pass on does become a game of skill as you use positive and negative space, or you just be very careful with the placement of your ghost. I wish there was a timer on it, as there would have been an interesting measurable there, but other than that, in the end, there's not a lot of variety, unfortunately, despite a very good concept under the surface. Nexus 1 Core. An endless runner that doesn't do enough in the single player to stand out in that sense, but brings the co-op to the front. The idea of the runner is that there are two major colors, which you can customize. To get through the single color barriers, you have to be the appropriate color and do an appropriate action in some cases, like dashing through it. However, if the barrier is multicolored, then it depends on the game's format. You can go both colors as a single player user, but for co-op, you must fuse together and can even slow down time if you do it perfectly at the same time. There is a couple of different modes here, but they all in the end are avoid things as long as possible. The co-op is the more exciting of the two modes, especially if you're fighting over control of being fused. However, the lack of variety in the runner begins to wear away at you over time, and fails to do enough to keep your interest, especially at a $10 price tag. Frozen Cortex. Are you ready for some football? The spiritual successor to Frozen Synapses, this time around we get a strategy version of the robotic version of NFL Blitz. The strategy elements are great in a human-on-human battle, as you try to use space to predict your opponent's movements, and there are a good series of different modes here. You can customize your team, different stats on the robots, and the ability to bet on your team winning or losing is sort of comical in a Pete Rose kind of way. There is a lack of some of the higher strategy options that Synapses had, and you'll feel at times that you have no idea what exactly you need to do to win a match. But that's if you don't focus on positioning and using passing properly, and the small amount of strategy with things like chase radius and stunning and tackling. You have a game that feels like a strategy form of the Madden games, and a lot more unique than them at that. So that is the majority of the games that I played during the last week. I admit this week was a series of ups and downs, and in particular the bigger titles struck out for me in several ways. The most fun I had was playing more Darkest Dungeon, which isn't anything different from normal lately. Have I mentioned I love Darkest Dungeon? As for the next week, more zombies. Of course there's the next episode of Resident Evil Revelations 2 on March 3rd. You can tell that I'm really excited for it. Maybe the problems will be fixed by that point? No, they won't. Just like Assassin's Creed Unity is fixed on the PC, or the networking in Ultra Street Fighter 4 is fixed on the PC. Sorry, Krista, that this comes out on your birthday. A shout out to my sister. The Zombie Army trilogy comes out on March 6th for the PC, PS4, and Xbox One. I'm still trying to figure out where the trilogy part of this comes from, but there's 3 campaigns of 15 missions with up to 4 players, as you fight hordes of zombies in updated HD visuals. Nazi zombies, of course. Ollie Ollie 2 for the PlayStation 4 and Vita comes out on March 7th. There's more skateboarding action to launch with single player, but multiplayer is going to launch a little bit later. Mighty Dungeons seems to come out on March 3rd, which is described as Hero Quest meets Dungeon Master. There's customization here with submitting new quest campaigns, monsters, weapons, and other items, so there is a little bit of an interest on my side for that one. And there's a variety of more games as listed here coming out during the next week. Again, if you want more detailed information and the cases for the videos here, go check the description for more information, as more detailed content or descriptions of the game in question will be present. That's what The Hunt is, a sampling and shortened version of more detailed descriptions to try to pass on the information in a short burst for you. I'm always playing around with ideas though, so leave any feedback or comments below. And if you haven't subbed to the TechRaptor channel, you probably should do so, I'm just saying. Alright, I'll see you next week. Hey everybody, my name is Sean Joy, aka Dragnix, and I thank you for watching. If you do like this video, hit that like button, and if you do want more content like this from TechRaptor, hit that subscribe button. I will be doing content for TechRaptor on Mondays and Thursdays video-wise, and then doing the rest of the week on the video on my own channel. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Also, play more games. Needs more games.